Hello, Night Nation. Trey Trylko here. Welcome to the Sons of UCF Live, the NFL Draft. It's getting underway right now. Where will our Knights go? Coach Malzahn weighs in on possible delays to name, image, and likeness in the state of Florida. And a couple of UCF teams get ready for NCAA tournament action. Let's welcome in the Sons of UCF, Adam and Mike. Guys, you are on the clock.
I'm also underdressed, apparently. I didn't get the memo on the attire for this evening. Although, Mike, I'm going to need my sunglasses back whenever you get a moment. Draft night may be tough. I know if you're out there and you're trying to figure out Sons UCF, draft, Sons UCF, what do I do? Stick with us. We'll keep you updated, and nobody else is going to wear that tie Mike has on.
It's draft night, baby. You got to have on your best stuff. I'm ready. I'm ready to meet the commish. I'm going to be picked first round, second round. Where am I going?
You're a number one pick with that outfit.
Did you already own that tie, or is that something you picked up today?
I think it was part of a Halloween costume.
I sure hope it was. Yeah.
Well, if there's a power outage down in South Florida, you're still good to go for the hour.
Yeah. Hey, I'm the best dressed guy here. I'm ready.
The odd thing is that your ring light is now glaring into your sunglasses, so there's this weird like double ring vibe on your sunglasses. It's pretty cool.
I can turn it down. Is that any better?
Oh, hold on, Brian Peterson early with a. Is that a slime green tie? Cow tie, Mike?
Cow tie? No, I don't think so.
Ooh, I don't know.
Cow
We need
of
to
the
take
week
this up for a
nominee.
vote. Yeah, all you faithful watchers out there, I need a vote. I need a ruling right now. Does Mike have on a cow? Yeah, Brian Peterson. I need a ruling. Does Mike have a cow tie on? Yeah, I need a ruling soon.
All right, guys. Adam will be monitoring the draft, and we will bring you the picks, the couple of picks that will be made in this first hour. Some UCF news today, some transfer portal news. Tight end Tony Forrest Jr. entering the transfer portal. Well, you remember him in the quarterback room. Quarterback Gaston Moore entering the transfer portal. Two guys I would imagine maybe a little bit lower on the depth chart.
Tony Forrest, we barely knew you. Listen, this is bound to happen. Obviously, guys who got recruited there, new offense, new system. If you're not on the 2 deep, the 3 deep, and you don't see a path forward, you want to play. This makes a ton of sense. This is not good. I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. I think Gaston Moore could be a big loss in the sense that I think he's the signal caller. He's the green shacket, the green, penny wearing quarterback on the sidelines that signals in the plays. I don't think that's easy. So that may be a tough thing to replace. Luckily, Malzahn's offense is new, so everyone's learning it new. But don't discount the fact that I'm sure Gaston Moore had a big role in that in the communication to the quarterback. So losing him obviously is going to shuffle some stuff around. But look, these guys want to play. If their opportunity is not here at UCF, I mean, that's what the transfer portal is for. Once a night, always a night. Godspeed.
I think I follow UCF football pretty closely. I mean, I do a podcast every week. We do this show every week. I got to be honest, never heard of either of those guys. So, I mean, if they're going to get a chance to play somewhere else, then good for them.
All right, Mike is weighed in. He does a podcast, doesn't know all the players. No,
he's not the only one, apparently.
You've heard of these guys before?
I have.
Yes. I also do a show every week and try to stay abreast. No, I'm just kidding. You do a great job. NCAA
somebody asked you.
Making it official, one-time transfer rule allowing all athletes, regardless of their sport, to be immediately eligible at their new school. We saw this coming. It is now official. What do you think the impact will be across the NCAA landscape?
Yeah, I've said it before. I feel like this is a win for the quote unquote group of 5 schools, because obviously a lot of talented kids will just see a Power 5 school and go there out of high school, recognize that once they get there, maybe their opportunities aren't as great as they thought, and then look for chances to play and then be able to go down to a different institution and get some playing time. So I think it's a win for a group of 5 schools. My only concern is just, there's going to be underhanded recruiting. USC is going to lose a quarterback for whatever reason and need a starter and start sniffing around at who's the best quarterback at Houston or Cincinnati or, hopefully not, but UCF. And will you see some of that take place? That's my only concern. I do think it's probably a win overall, though, for the group of 5, if you will.
We're already benefiting from it. We've seen the guys come over from the big programs, from Auburn, the Big Cat, and Mark Anthony Richards. Remember last year, all our big transfers, we had to wait almost halfway through the season, if not more, to even see guys get on the field. So now these guys are eligible right away. I think that's a big plus for us.
Has Nebraska finally released the player that came to us? Has that ever officially happened? Yeah.
I don't think so.
Is he eligible now? Does he get to be released finally?
I don't know, man. But it took how long to see Devon Wilson, right? He didn't appear to like week 8, week 9. So now we don't have to worry about stuff like that. We get these guys right away. Fall camp, ready to go.
Coach Malzahn, or whoever operates his Twitter handle, been busy on Twitter today. Interesting stance taking, asking Elon Musk to purchase naming rights for the Bounce House. A little photo of the Bounce House with the SpaceX logo on the side of the marquee. So interesting that UCF lobbying for Elon Musk to pony up some dollars for naming rights.
If you'll grant me the opportunity to take UCF Mike's get off my lawn stance here, I actually don't love this. I mean, I feel like UCF is an attractive program. There's a lot to sell about it. You know, if it's in good fun, I get it, but it feels like there's a lot of like, especially when it comes to this particular topic, come sponsor us, come be our stadium sponsor. It just feels a tad needy to me. I hope it's in tongue in cheek and good jest, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't love it. I mean, maybe it's a joke, and I hope it is, but it feels a little bit beneath, I think, what we are as a program, and I think it kind of undercuts your value a little bit, right? When you're sort of begging one guy to take your sponsorship. If he offers us $1 million, are we going to turn it down?
I mean, it's $1 million more than what we're getting now. We're getting nothing, but I take it as just throwing it out there. If he bites, he bites. If not, it's just publicity. So it's out there. People are talking about it today, and there's no such thing as bad publicity. And Malzahn take his shot right now. If it ends up getting us money, great. If not, no big deal. Nothing lost. It's just a tweet.
Wait, Bounce, the dryer sheet people, they're not the sponsor for the Bounce House?
I mean,
I don't have any sound effects, Trace. If I had the loser game show sound, you might get it right there, unfortunately.
I already offered up the Waffle Bounce House, but they haven't bid on that one yet.
I think when it was fan-driven by fans on social media, I think it was one thing. For UCF to weigh in, or Coach Malzahn to weigh in on his Twitter handle, I do think it takes it to a different level. You know, UCF always good. Yes.
Are you breaking this? He does not run that Twitter account?
I can't be for sure, but
okay.
Boom, I don't think so.
Okay. Maybe that's the breaking news tonight, yeah.
Well, throughout this show, we've got some nights in the NFL draft trivia that Adam will be bringing up on screen and play along at home or wherever you're watching. It is, of course, the NFL draft. You spoke about it on your show. We're going to have opportunity to talk about our nights, what should be a good NFL draft for UCF players. By the end of the night, do you think that we have a night in the NFL? Possible late first round for a Richie Grant or an Aaron Robinson?
On the show, I predicted round 2 for both of those gentlemen. So I guess I have to stick to that. But I would not be surprised to see somebody at 29, 30, 31, depending on how the draft breaks. And if a lot of DBs are off the board for whatever reason, and you have a need there and you want to go up and make sure you get the guy, I wouldn't be completely shocked. But I do have them to be transparent. On our show on Tuesday, I said round 2 for both those guys.
Yeah, it's a possibility. So I've been shocked, well, not shocked, but surprised before with some of the picks that our guys have gone. I think Travis Fisher went in, the second round? I didn't see that one coming years ago. Perriman went in the first round. I'm not sure everybody had that. I don't expect anybody to go tonight, but it'd be nice, and most likely early tomorrow.
And Mike, on your Twitter handle, giving away another one of those coveted hats. Still time to enter?
Yeah. I mean, go ahead. The draft is started already, I guess. But yeah, go ahead. As long as nobody gets drafted tonight, I'll give you until tomorrow to start if you want. Go ahead and predict which round and which team the player will go to. I don't think it's that easy. I mean, you have a 1 in 32 chance. Take a shot, but I'd be surprised if anybody got one right.
And then one pick per player. So if you pick Richie Grant round 2 to Dallas, that's your pick. You don't get to come back tomorrow and go, okay, round 3 to Washington. You get one chance for each player, round and team. If you nail it, this beautiful hat that I'm pointing to that you probably can't see is all yours.
That's right. We've had a few entries already, so people have their picks out there. Yeah, you got it sometime. If you want to get in on it, go ahead.
Speaking of Trace, let's. You want to get to the first draft UCF trivia question?
Sure.
I'm curious. Mike has not seen these, so I'm curious if our if he can actually see the glare from the screen. Who was the first Knight selected in the NFL draft? So, Mike, do you know for sure?
I know this.
Do not answer then. Do not answer then. Get in the comments if you know the answer to these questions. Who was the first Knight drafted in the NFL? A year would be fantastic if you've got that as well. First Knight drafted into the NFL.
In speaking with Jonathan Adams, a guest on the Sons of UCF Live a few weeks back, he contributing writer at heavy.com and some freelance writing. What he's hearing and what he speculates is that M. Robinson, Richie Grant likely to go second round, though he's not going to be surprised if Richie Grant sneaks in late first round for a team that may have him as the highest ranked safety. And you've seen that, Mel Kiper and others big on Richie Grant.
Yeah, I think it's possible, right? You know, if you're a team in the second round and your guy's off the board and you really want Richie and you can move up and it doesn't cost you too much in that 29, 30, 28 range, you see it happen from time to time. I mean, I'm not comparing it to this player, but was it 3 years ago? I think Baltimore moved up to 32 to get Lamar Jackson because they didn't want to wait for him the second round. I'm not saying Richie Grant's Lamar Jackson, don't get me wrong, but you see teams move into that back half of that first round to get their guy that they want in the second round. So I think it's a possibility. Again, I personally go second, but I wouldn't rule anything out. The draft is a total crapshoot. Every mock draft you've seen out there has no clue what they're talking about. Nobody really does until the pick is called. So I guess, like I said earlier, anything is possible. Second round seems likely, but you know, around 11:30, 12 o'clock tonight, maybe stay by your TV. You never know if a Knight will get called.
Richie's been my pick all along to be the first Knight off the board. I'll stick with that, even though I know a lot of people have taken Aaron Robinson. I'm going to stick with Richie. I don't know if it's going to be tonight, maybe tomorrow, second round. I hope not third round, but you never know. Like Adam says, it's a crapshoot.
The big question of the week that I asked on Twitter, setting the over-under at 3.5, how many UCF Knights are selected in the NFL draft? Over 3.5, 58%, under 42%. I do think we have a good chance, as UCF touted on its social media, of getting 3 players selected in the top 100 picks.
So I did the math, which wasn't easy because Mike and I did not prepare for the podcast as well this week in draft coverage. I have 6 guys getting drafted. Mike also has 6 guys getting drafted. So you can firmly plant us in the over camp on that one.
This is from the same guys who predict that the team will go 12-0 every year.
No, sometimes 13, sometimes 14-0. Trace. Keep
15,
up.
15,
Yeah.
right? There's a 15.
Keep up.
Too.
You got to keep up, Trace. Yeah.
Usually it's 15, but we always plan for that one game to get rained out for the Hurricanes. So then sometimes it's 14.
It's a math equation. It's fine.
Right. I know I predicted all those guys on the show. If we went 4, I'd kind of be surprised. Everybody's saying the 3 defensive backs for sure. The receivers, I mean, we had a guy on here, Peterson, last week that said Jacob Harris is going to second round. I think he's got the best shot of the receivers. Other than that, I don't know, hopeful.
Jacob Harris has certainly become the most interesting one since his pro day. He's the biggest riser, right, amongst the UCF players. And of course, the biggest faller, perhaps Marlon Williams. You have him sneaking in, right? A late round pick?
Yeah. I have him going 7th to Carolina and Baltimore, who don't have a pick in the 7th round, so that's awkward. Mike had him going 7th as our UCF Knight to become a Jaguar, our annual tradition around here. So Mike has him coming up here to the Jacksonville area with the Jaguars. So we both have him sneaking in towards the later end of the draft there.
Gotcha. No answers yet? No successful answers on our – this is – I don't know. This is a challenging question.
No, but David Reed thinks Trey Nixon's better, so we've got that going for us.
Trey Nixon is better than Marlon Williams or Jacob Harris? Or
I assume both.
I guess both.
I mean, David, both, I assume, right? I mean, and to be fair, we both have Trey. Mike has Trey 7th. I have Trey 6th. So I think we both think Trey may sneak into the draft. And he's like, not that you don't root for any of these guys, but he's a guy that you root for. I mean, he was on our show, what almost 8 weeks ago, Mike, and just said, just give me a chance. Somebody give me a chance and you won't regret it. It's hard not to root for a guy like Trey Nixon.
All these guys we've had on the show now, all the receivers came on with us, and it's hard not to root for them. But like Trey told us that day, sometimes you're better off not getting drafted, and you can find yourself in a better spot as an undrafted free agent. You sign with the team you want, the better situation for you. The money is almost the same when you're talking 7th round and free agent. So as long as the guys end up in the best spot for them for their careers, that's what the most important thing is.
Of the 8 UCF Knights that are under consideration in this NFL draft, have you spoken to each of them on the Sons of UCF?
Richie Grant and Aaron Robinson have proven to be elusive in the interview game, but the other gentlemen on the list, yes, including Tay Gowan, we had on our pregame show that day, Trace. We spoke to Tay then, and that's it. We do have some questions, some answers rolling in here for the trivia question. First night take, and Cossack Advisor gets in there with Elgin Davis, and then Jason gets in with Bobby Spatulski. Mike, you seem to know the answer here, so reveal for the audience. The first night drafted was
Ted Wilson.
Ted Wilson, whoa. 1987 to the Washington Now football team. Was our first UCF night drafted. Congratulations, UCF Mike. You people need to stop letting Mike win things. It's just bad for the show morale overall.
He owns 72 hats. That's what he owns. He's got every hat.
And no shirts, which is fantastic. No shirt, that tie, and 70 hats. It's fantastic.
I've won the college pick'em. I've won the 5K. I'm winning the trivia. Where's Marazzo? I figured Chris Marazzo would get in on this trivia thing. He usually dominates this.
A couple of other notes before we shift gears and go to our interview guest. Congratulations to UCF's cheerleading team. They finished numero 2 in the National Cheerleading Championships. We will not mention which school finished first, but it was not UCF. Women's golf, number 9 seed at the Louisville region in the NCAA tournament. UCF is one of 18 schools that will be in that region, hosted by the University of Louisville. UCF football traveling to Louisville later this year. That begins Monday, May 10th. And big week for tennis. We have 2 men's and women's tennis in the top 10. Women's tennis number 8. They beat Tulsa to win the AAC championship. That is back-to-back AAC championships for women's tennis. And men's tennis number 9 now. They beat the Cows for their first AAC championship. The selection show for the NCAA tournament will be coming May 3rd, and that will be viewed on ncaa.com. Another trivia question. Jacksonville is on the clock. They have 7 minutes to go. They have not yet made their selection. Who could it be?
If people don't get this one correct, I'm not sure. Mike is going to drive to your house and take your shirt off on your front lawn. If you don't get this one right, everybody, highest draft position for a UCF Knight in school history goes to who? We'll give you like 40 seconds to answer this question. But to Trace's point, 6 minutes on the clock for Jacksonville. They're showing a lot of Trevor Lawrence highlights. I'll let you draw the parallel there.
Yeah, you kind of had to know UCF history for the first question. This one, you don't have to go too far back. It should be a pretty easy one. Maybe you just have a brain fart. It's the only excuse, but everybody should get that one.
Is that a possible answer there?
We got boats from Jason. We got what looks like a boat emoji. David Reed insulting our intelligence with a duh. And Trace, our next guest, who is actually waiting in the green room right now, also gets in with his answer as well.
All right, before we bring him in and transition to that subject, name, image, and likeness. Wednesday night, a charter school bill in the Florida legislature passed with 2 late sports-related amendments. One, the very controversial transgender athlete bill, banning them from participating in women's sports in high school and college. The one, though, that affects our next guest is that would change the date of the new name, image, and likeness law from July 1, 2021 to July 1, 2022, a possible delay of a year. Coach Malzahn, again, who active on Twitter today, quote, NIL changes are coming in the very near future. Here at UCF, we will continue to help our student athletes in building their personal brands and capitalizing on their opportunities. We are hopeful that the state's original plan will track in implementing these changes. So Coach Malzahn weighing in on that, as have the head coaches at Florida, Florida State, and Miami, and student athletes across the state. So let's talk about this with our guest, Luis Pardillo, a UCF alum, class of 2004. We've been going back and forth a lot, direct messaging about this topic and how things have changed. He is CEO and co-founder of Dreamfield, and it was supposed to be an easy setup, Luis. Explain name, image, and likeness to us, which I still ask that you do, and talk to us about the impact of what Florida lawmakers did on Wednesday night.
Yeah, hey, good evening, guys. Really happy to be talking about name, image, and likeness. So, pretty simple way to explain it. It's essentially an athlete's right to use their name, image, and likeness to generate revenue for themselves. So, it could be anything from generating ad revenue on YouTube to doing live events, which is what our platform is supporting. And like you said, a lot has changed in the last 24 hours. I got to apologize. I am running on 2 hours of sleep. I was up till about 4 a.m, working with media and folks in Florida government to see what we could do to prevent this change from happening.
Well, in short, it came out of left field, right? It got all lumped in together at the last moment. Yeah,
it wasn't supposed to happen. There were rumors for about last month or two that there was a push to delay name, image, and likeness. A lot of it stems from the fact that the Department of Education is responsible for enforcing name, image, and likeness laws, and due to COVID, they were really tied up in regards to getting kids back in school. So there wasn't a lot of focus on getting ready for name, image, and likeness come July 1st. So that's sort of the behind the scenes of why there was a push for it. But in regards to it being thrown in there at the last minute, that was a complete shock to everyone.
Luis, I read something in SI.com today that essentially talks about the Florida decision, and one of the guys, Travis Hudson, essentially is quoted as saying that the reason that this delay will take place essentially is that they're waiting for the NCAA to essentially state that there will be no penalties for student athletes who take advantage of this stuff. What role does the NCAA play in this? Obviously, certain states are making decisions, but what role does the NCAA play in all this?
So, yeah, look. It's ridiculous. That was an absurd statement to say because that does not come as a surprise. That was the whole point of the bill last year being passed, which he voted for, by the way. So he acts as if it was some sort of unknown surprise that the NCAA could potentially go after student athletes. What people need to keep in mind is participating in the free market is not illegal. It's an NCAA bylaw, which the universities themselves decide and have voted to enforce. However, state law supersedes whatever it is as far as the NCAA is trying to enforce. So, I don't buy it. Most people don't buy it. It doesn't hold water.
Anytime something like this goes down, I always ask myself the same question right away. Follow the money, right? We know the players didn't want this. We know the coaches didn't want it. Who stands to benefit from this being pushed down another year?
That's the $1 million question. It comes down to not just money, but control. This is a $19 billion industry, the college athletics world. And right now, the power is centralized, from the top at the NCAA and, of course, with the institutions, whether it's TV contracts, merchandising, whatever it may be. Once you open name, image, and likeness, you decentralize power, which is the whole aspect of the spirit of the law. And whether it comes to EA Sports licensing or where the athletes themselves are getting paid, that's less money going to the NCAA, and which of course then trickles down to the schools. Whether it's merchandising, splitting royalties on jerseys with names. It's definitely a potential loss of revenue. You also have companies that may be less likely to sponsor a school and reallocate marketing dollars to an individual athlete. So, yeah, all signs point that this comes to the top of the NCAA.
So Florida has tapped the brakes, but other states continue to move forward. Do you expect there to be any sort of trickle-down impact on those other states, or is Florida now possibly going to lag behind?
Well, one thing to keep in mind, it's not a done deal yet in the state of Florida. There's a big push. My organization, of course, is part of that to encourage Governor DeSantis to veto this bill. So, but in regards to other states, I would like to say no, but this also came out of left field. So who knows if they got to, if the NCAA got to one of our state senators that voted in favor of this a year ago, who's to say that they can't get to someone in Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, South Carolina, by the way, passed a bill this morning, which nobody seemed to care about because Florida kind of took over the news cycle there. But I mean, you got New Mexico, you got Arizona. It sort of the train's left the station. In order for them to wrangle it all back, it's going to take a real big effort nationwide. All it takes is one state to be open and live for NIL to create an unfair advantage. So, we'll see July 1st.
Here in Florida, we saw a strong reaction from many of the college football coaches: Gus Malzahn, Mike Norvell, Manny Diaz, Dan Mullen. What did you make of their reaction, and how much impact do you think that the voices that they carry will have on, maybe to your point, the potential veto for this bill going forward?
Yeah, no, I would actually even go a step back. To me, it started with Mackenzie Milton, obviously former UCF great, leading the charge on behalf of the players. You also saw tight end from Florida State, I believe his name is Cam McDonald, who really jumped in, and then De'Aaron King from Miami was a big voice. That generated the news cycle, that got momentum going. But once Manny Diaz this afternoon weighed in, and by the way, it wasn't just that he weighed in. If you actually read his statement, it was extremely strong, and he tagged the governor in that post. I think that really created that chain effect where Norvell had no choice but to jump in, and then of course Dan Mullen followed. I'll be honest, I was extremely disappointed with Gus Malzahn's lateness to the game. I think he missed an opportunity, and then his statement, in my opinion, was extremely weak. That's not to say I'm not excited for him to be UCF's coach, but I felt his statement was extremely weak and late. So, that's my take on it.
A flat tire on the Gus bus. Oh, I hate to hear that.
Look, I'm rooting for him. I'm excited to see him coach here for 10 years. I just think he could have done a lot more. Terry Mahajar's statement was even weaker than his. Andrew Adelson did a ESPN article that came out this afternoon, and his statement was, I'm just going to say pathetic. It was really bad. So I think we could do better, especially 2 weeks ago during the spring game when they came out strong for NIL. I don't know what they were thinking today. Maybe Trace, you're right. Maybe he's not running the Twitter account and he didn't put those words out. But I think we could have done a lot better.
Did it sound like Gus? Did it sound like him? Did it sound like the Gus we've come to know?
I still don't know him yet. He's still new to me. So I don't know. It's too early. If it was Danny White or Heupel or Frost, I probably would have had a better pulse on that. But I'm just hoping it wasn't his words.
Is there anything that actually can be done to change this? I mean, is it going to take a player boycott? What actually has to happen? I'm just tweeting at the governor. I don't know if that's going to get anything done.
Look, the governor has stuck his neck out for being the first mover in this space. I can't see him not vetoing it and not looking bad. He has time and time again touted being first and basically claiming the NCAA is a cabal, which I don't disagree with. So I can't see him not vetoing it, but I know that obviously politics at play is a lot more complicated than that. So I just think he's going to look bad if he doesn't veto this or doesn't get them to, take it back and adjust it.
let's talk about Dreamfield. What is it? How does it work? And this isn't just about football players.
That's correct. Dreamfield is a two-way marketplace that connects student athletes with enterprise customers, so businesses, organizations, nonprofits, for the opportunities in live events. So it's a live event booking platform. The way it works is athletes create profiles no different than social media. There's no cost to sign up. Likewise with businesses, there's absolutely no cost to sign up. We properly vet businesses. We verify that they're properly insured. We verify that they are active businesses in their state and, federal EIN, all of that. Our focus is safety and compliance. So, from A to Z, everything's done seamlessly in the platform. Business would send a request to an athlete for whether it's an autograph session or it's a meet and greet photo op. Our platform will support it. Key things to note is the athletes dictate their price. There's no opportunity to negotiate down an athlete. We do that purposefully. The way the law is written talks about athletes being paid market rate. It's a kind of a vague statement, but our take on that is taking the power out of the hands of the entities to negotiate up or down rates. So we handle everything in-house, whether it's collecting and remitting sales tax, the legal contracts that are generated through the platform. We even handle compliance for on behalf of the student athlete. By that, we send copies of the contracts to the compliance office on their behalf. We verify if there's any conflicts with current agreements with the schools. We can vet those out so that athletes don't get themselves in an agreement that violates existing contracts. So we just try to handle everything for the student athletes so they can focus on their studies, focus on performance on the field.
What do you think are the practical applications for student athletes? Do you see them endorsing products, autograph sessions? Do you see them wearing brand names, creating their own brands? Have you guys done research to kind of understand what do you think the practical application of NIL will be for many athletes?
Yeah. I mean, look, the market's huge, whether it's merchandising, which in speaking to athletes, that seems to be a popular route. We see it with Dylan Gabriel, with DG the brand. That's an example of merchandising. Live events, I think, is a great opportunity for a lot of athletes, not just tier one, but, connecting small businesses with opportunities to endorse local businesses. Of course, there's social media influencing, which is going to be a big piece of this pie. I actually spoke to a company today based out of Boston, and they're a platform allowing athletes to sell merchandise, whether it's shoes or jerseys that are, I'm assuming that they have to own it. It's not school property, but they could sell worn jerseys, things like that. So I think there's going to be a ton of opportunities. And I think a lot of people tend to lump all NIL platforms together, but in speaking to a lot of companies, there's a ton of avenues. And then, there's the age-old question, does this only help that 5% of athletes that are name brands? And, we saw it here with Donald Delahaye. He's the backup kicker. The guy made a fortune off of his YouTube channel. So I think there's opportunities for a lot. They just have to find whatever their niche is.
A quick follow-up. How does that impact existing brand relationships that schools have, right? So UCF is a Nike school. If Dylan Gabriel wants to take a photo opportunity with Skechers, are there regulations like that will sort of impact what the athletes can do?
There are. It's all about the details of the contract. From my vantage point, where it's tricky is the athlete never agreed in principle to any of those team contracts. So will it hold up in court? That's going to be probably the next big fight down the road. Take Carl Black Chevrolet, right? I'm sure there's some sort of language in the contract where an athlete can't go out and support another Chevrolet dealership. I think that's going to be the next legal battle, because no athlete chose to get into that agreement. They're not getting compensated either for that agreement. So I think you bring up a point that's going to be contested in the near future.
How much competition is there for you guys? Are there a lot of companies doing what you guys do, or what sets you guys apart from the other ones?
Yeah, so I think there's a good 15 to 20 players in space to start. As I mentioned, not all parties are doing the same activity. So you have social media influencing, you got live events, which is what we're focused on. In regards to live events, from what I've gathered, and it's a little bit of a search, because keeping in mind that the industry is not open yet. So who knows who's lurking out there, who's maybe holding back from advertising, or just who we haven't discovered yet. I've identified 2 other companies in this space that are going after live events. In regards to what separates us, that's also going to be a hard play, just because no one's operating. What I can tell you is that the level of detail that we're focused on in our contracts and in our operational model, as well as our financial model, I feel that we're best positioned to really help the athletes keep as much money in their pocket as possible, and then keep them safe from a liability standpoint, which is going to be extremely important.
So what's it going to take to get an athlete at the Sons of UCF tailgate party before a football game? It can be any sport. Why don't you walk us through that process? Adam, Mike, you may be interested.
So to start, day one, our product is going to serve enterprise-based companies. So the reason for that is, and I'll say it time and time again, safety. We want to make sure that an athlete is going to an event that's not only safe in regards to the people there, security, whatever it may be, but from an insurance standpoint, if something goes wrong, who's liable? God forbid, there's an altercation at an event and someone gets, their ankle sprained. Is there a general liability insurance at the facility to cover it? So in regards to the tailgate, obviously it's school property. Who's doing the contract on behalf of the client. So we're looking into ways to bring in individuals into this space. We're not there yet. We just want to make sure we do it right. So day one, it won't be allowed, but hopefully in the near future, we'll find a solution.
All right, let's get to the important question. You see what our guy UCF Mike is working with right now. What kind of branding opportunities do you think we can get Mike? Because he's got a good look working. Our friend Mario has actually submitted this as an option for Mike. I don't know if you guys see the similarities there. What kind of branding opportunities do you think Mike could attract in the Dreamfield database?
Well, I think we could connect him with that chocolate factory at City Walk. Maybe do some sort of cross promotion event there. Do some autographs, get them on stilt walkers or something. But besides that, we'll work together. We'll figure it out.
We'll call you after the show.
Athletes? If somebody wanted to hire me to go show up at the tailgate, would I be able to?
Oh my goodness! Oh boy!
Let's
the hats aren't big enough for Mike the brand.
Yeah. Well, we are supporting only college athletes, and that's everything from NCAA, NAIA, JUCO, HBCUs. But maybe we'll get you a walk-on opportunity and then get you signed up. So we could do something like that.
All right.
All right. Well, let us wrap up with this. What the Florida lawmakers did on Wednesday, a punch to the gut, but you don't think it's over. What do you think are the next steps? We're a ways away from July 1.
Best case scenario, we get a veto from Governor DeSantis. That would be best case. Second best case, the NCAA decides to finally do something about it and open this up all 50 states. Worst case scenario, as a company, we start operating in Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Arkansas, New Mexico, and any other state that's open, and then we just wait for Florida. But that's not what we want. We're Floridians, at least 2 out of the 3 of us, as an ownership group, and we base this company to really focus on Florida and then spread out from there. So we're gonna have to see.
Well, keep us posted, Lewis. Alum, CEO, co-founder of Dreamfield. You see on your screen at Dreamfield CO. You can follow the latest on this issue on Lewis's Twitter account. Lewis, we appreciate it. Get some sleep, will you? Try.
Yeah, I need it. I appreciate it. All right, guys.
Go Knights.
Charge on.
Charge on.
Boy, that whole story blew up in a big way on Wednesday night, and I don't think you're stopping this issue. It's taken off in other states. Just a matter of time, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the reaction, I think, if you're a UCF fan, you saw, if you follow Mackenzie Milton, he had a really strong reaction. I think there was like a 5, 6, 7 tweet barrage tagging different legislators, tagging different individuals, and asking them to intervene. Probably the most vocal we've seen KZ in this kind of setting. And obviously the coaches followed suit as well. So certainly an issue that has got the attention of coaches and athletes. And, you know, one of the things Florida was trumpeting was the fact that you could come here and a year earlier than others begin to profit off your name, image, and likeness. So obviously a big hit if that maybe takes a back seat, or maybe it's not a big hit. I guess it's probably too early to tell on all that stuff.
You can tell for a guy like KZ, this is his one last year in college football to capitalize on this. I'd be very upset if I was him too. But you know, when something like this, so much money involved, it wasn't going to go smoothly. The NCAA doesn't look like they're prepared for it. There's still too many rules that they have to get sorted out. Like Lewis was just saying, there's a lot of things that are in a gray area right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw this happen in other states too.
NFL draft continuing, pick 3, Trey Lance, North Dakota State, going to San Francisco. That follows Zach Wilson to the Jets and Trevor Lawrence to the Jags. We know a little bit about Zach Wilson, don't we?
I blacked out for that game, Trace. Mike absolutely blacked out for that game. But Trey Lance is the first kind of surprise, right? This was the quote-unquote Mac Jones pick. I think that was the prevailing theory that the Niners would go Mac Jones. So where this ends up going forward, who knows? But probably the first quote-unquote semi-surprise. You heard his name up here. You heard Justin Fields' name as well. So they go with Trey over Mac Jones. So we'll see how that works out.
I think Mac Jones was always a smokescreen. Now you're going to see if other teams are interested in trading up for the Ohio State quarterback and Mac Jones. We'll see. It's going to get a little more interesting now in the next couple rounds. I'll just figure out who gets picked later, I guess. I'm not really watching.
Mike, stay tuned to the Sons of UCF Live. We'll update you right here. Can you see the screen?
Yeah,
Can you see how many fingers do I have up?
2.
All right.
Yeah, no, I could. That's how I'm getting my picks right now. I don't have any other screens going on. So,
time for another trivia question.
Let's go, Trace. This one is there's a lot of layers to this question, so we'll take both year and if you know players, we have that listed as well. What is the record for number of players drafted? So, which draft year had the most UCF guys drafted? And can you name those players? A multi-layered question here, Mike. Not sure if this is hat-worthy, but do you know the answer, Mike?
I was actually going to ask you guys this earlier in the show. I don't know the answer. If I had to guess, I'd say the record is 3 or 4, probably 3. Okay. But okay. I don't know the year. I don't know the players. If you told me the year, I could probably take a shot at the players.
Well, we'll see what answers we get before we give you that shot. Number 18, men's soccer against number 17, James Madison. James Madison, Mike, do you remember their mascot's name?
I told you it was the Fighting John Waynes, the Dukes.
Yeah, that's correct.
They wear purple. They're in the Colonial Conference, and Duke Dog is their mascot.
Yes, that's Sunday, May 2nd, 5 o'clock. Checked with the sports information director, Kenny Landis, and still no word on whether there will be any sort of television for this or streaming. Not yet made available. Seems like something that they perhaps should focus on. Should be a tight one. Hopefully UCF can advance in this. That match on Thursday. Any answers yet? Any answers yet to this trivia question? The number to me is the easier one. The players is the challenging.
Yeah, the comments are dry right now. Lonely Bumblebee thinks, Mario again, thinks maybe Mike could be a part of a beer factory giveaway, though, for his potential name, image, and likeness tour. But nobody venturing to guess the number. So
the stat of the day for me, I was looking at the show sheet here. You're telling me James Madison only allowed 2 goals the entire season? Is that right?
Shortened season, but still impressive.
Bill, how many games did they play?
Darn. I don't know that one. Didn't write that one down.
I want to say it was like 7 or 8, somewhere in that ballpark.
And only 2 goals. I mean, sheesh, we score 1.
No,
We better hold on to that lead, right?
James Madison 5-0-3 on the year, so 8 was correct.
Look at that.
Notes.
Look at those notes. Look at those notes. A whole ream of paper of notes.
I got a whole yellow pad. When you work with Mike, you have to write it all down in advance because you don't know what you're going to get. So you just start writing random things down. What street corner, the UCF library's on, how many presidents we've had, what size shoe John Hitt wore. You got to write it all down because you never know what Mike's going to ask.
14.
They only gave up 2 goals, but they tied 3 games, so it doesn't sound like they scored too many goals either.
I don't think you're going to say this is a 1 goal can win it for you. It might go to PKs with 0-0, right? That kind of game.
Yeah,
feels like a weird math problem Mike just worked out there. But let's. No one's getting in the answer, Trace. I'm getting frustrated here. So let's give people the answer, Mike. It's 4, and that's 2003. You see the particulars on the list there. Asante Samuel, Doug Gabriel, Mike Mabry, Elton Patterson. 2018 was Mike Hughes, Traquan Smith, Jordan Akins, and Shaquem Griffin. Mario got in there. He tried to get 3. Jason Souza may have gotten in under the gun there with a 4 answer there. He may have.
We'll give it to him.
He's been the winner. Yeah, may have been the winner or good Googling. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to do an integrity check on either, Jason, but he may be the winner on that one.
We don't think that record's going to get broken this year, right? Everybody's thinking 4.
You do. You think there are going to be 6 guys taking
What I say on the show and what I actually think may be 2 different things.
I can confirm.
So there's a different mic in the recorded version versus the live version. They think differently.
There is a different.
There's things I can't say on the recorded show.
Sorry, I had a family member just walk into the studio here. And by studio, I mean my room here. So
that's a live show for you. The Atlanta Falcons pick is in. Top 3 picks in the NFL draft are quarterbacks. No mention yet of a trade here. No mention yet of a trade. Moving on, softball this weekend at Ole Miss. UCF at 34-12-1. They swept Memphis. Memphis horrible, at least in softball. UCF 13-6-1 now. All right, let's pause while the Falcons pick, and then I think you have another trivia question that you can throw up as we await.
Trace, I got a lot of trivia questions. I mean, we're gonna have to filibuster here because I feel like Mike Greenberg is taking too long to talk here. So,
Kyle Pitts.
What year were no Knights drafted? Beginning in 2006, there was 1 year no Knights went in the draft.
I really liked this question. Before 2006, there were multiple years where there were no Knights. So I just went back to that.
Doesn't count. Ooh. Here comes Roger Goodell to the podium, by the way, while you all ponder that. It's actually an easy one if you think about the year that we probably wouldn't have had the best representation from a draft standpoint. But I don't want to give away the answer. Mike, do you have any guesses?
I mean, when you put it that way, I'd have to say 2011. My second guess would be 2008. But those are the 2 down years.
Only 2 down years?
2016.
There you go. That
2016 is the answer. No picks. Jason Souza was in for 2003. Kyle Pitts does indeed go to the Atlanta Falcons at the 4th pick, Mike. So you have nailed it again, my friend.
Exactly.
Wearing the Green Bay Packers inspired suit, a green suit is what he's.
Yeah, has anybody dressed as good as me so far that has been on the stage?
No one dressed as well as you in these squares. You win the title for tonight.
It is true.
Mel, another mention on softball, Jada Cody, the AAC Player of the Week, as we roll along. Baseball, as you talked about Monday, you wanted to try and get a split at number 7, then number 7 ECU. They get that split. So it's just right. It's been a funny season. They get a split at Cincinnati. That's not what you want, but the split at ECU is good. Sets them up now at 9-7 in the AAC. Still under 500, 19-21 overall, but a big jump in the RPI when you take 2 in Greenville. And I mentioned Memphis, not good in softball, not good in baseball either. 2-14 in the AAC, 12-26 overall. At least 3 out of 4, right? If not all 4.
The last 2 weeks on this show, we have told UCF baseball what we needed them to do, and they did it. We told them they had to win the series against the Cows, and they did it. We told them they had to at least get a split against ECU. They did it. I'm declaring right now, I need a sweep against Memphis.
If there's any series left that you think a sweep is very possible, this is the one. And it's getting late now. The American itself looks like, I see projections where only 2 teams making the tournament. If we want to be in there, second or third team, we got to start making that push now. And it starts with a sweep against Memphis. Let's get it going. The team now is starting to play better the last few weeks. We pick it up here, and then with a strong finish and a strong showing in the conference tournament, we still got a shot.
Doubleheader Friday, game Saturday, game Sunday. I checked with the baseball SID a little bit before going on the show to check in on pitcher Colton Gordon, and SID says he is not listed in the starting 4 on the rotation for this weekend, and reason not given. Colton Gordon did not pitch at ECU either, so you wonder what's going on with him. He may not make an appearance this weekend against Memphis.
No
Hopefully
excuses.
Don't need him.
No excuses. We need a sweep, Trace.
I'm with you.
That's
All right,
a big
another trivia question.
I don't want to have to send Mike to somebody's house to get angry with them. All right, here we go. If anyone gets this question, Mike, is this hat worthy? If anyone can get this number right on the noggin there. Now the problem is Google exists, so we may have some keyboard searching there. How many Knights have been selected in the NFL draft? Is this hat worthy, Mike?
So 1987 through 2020.
I don't know if I want to give a hat. Like you said, anybody can Google it right now.
Okay. Integrity check. No good. Well, then do you have the answer, Mike? Do you want to venture a guess here?
I'll throw out a random number, 46.
46 Knights. Okay.
I'm going to tell you too high.
31.
46.
Mario is in there at 27. Mario, little too low, buddy. You already got a hat, though. You look great in it, by the way. I haven't seen a picture with you wearing it, so I'm not.
I liked who was it that did the hat reveal with music on his Twitter page?
That was Barry Addict, right?
Barry Addict, yeah. Real name Sebastian. Barry Addict was the guy.
Did you send that off at Barry Addict, or you used the real name on the box?
No, it had his real name. And there was actually more packaging. He had already opened it. You can tell he had already cut the box open, but I packed that thing in with some bubble wrap into it. So
giving away the secret.
That's right. Yeah. I make sure the hats get there in perfect condition.
Ladies and gentlemen, already a hat winner. Paul Jones in with 34, which is the correct answer.
And speaking of Paul Jones, he sent me a very nice thank you card the other day for his hat. I never got to say you're welcome. So, Paul, now that you're watching, you're welcome. I was happy to send it to you.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice, guys. You know, I was very happy to listen to the Sons of UCF episode number 130 because it appears that we have located Jeff Godfrey.
Our long national nightmare is over. Listen, Mike and I debated this for a while. So pulling the curtain back for a moment, we have done 130 episodes of the Sons UCF. Episode 97 and above are currently available for you to download. And for all those who have, we appreciate you. We have a whole lot of shows that were available that are no longer available on the internet for reasons I'm not going to get into right here. However, of those shows, we have, I actually might, of those shows, we have some great interviews that we have conducted over time. And our fear is that one of two things, either A, as an early show, maybe you didn't know about it, you weren't listening to us, which is totally understandable. Or B, you listened so far ago, you forgot what the interview was about. And there's so many good stories in these interviews, so much good content that we don't want it to go to waste. We know people have been asking about the old show. So we're going to try to figure out a way to work some of these old interviews back into the mix. This was the start of that for Jeff Godfrey here. He appeared in episode 21, making his reappearance here in episode 130. We've had a lot of guys tell George O'Leary stories. I'm not sure anybody has told any better GOL stories than Jeff Godfrey. If you haven't heard it before, it's a must listen. If you have heard it before, it's a must listen. Either way, you know what you must do? Listen.
I listened to it again this week. I hadn't heard it since we did it probably 2 years ago. And it was great. Jeff was great. He had a lot of great stories about Coach and his time there. And we discussed the big three position changes. He was number one on my list, going from quarterback to receiver. Just a playmaker all over the field, scoring touchdowns every way you can think, running, throwing, receiving. He even went back to return a couple punts. I loved him. He was one of my favorite players while he was there, and I'm glad we got a chance to talk to him. And he was the first one ever. And he started us on this journey that we've gone through now with all these interviews. I love Jeff, and hopefully we'll get him on here again. And he won't be missing for so long.
Trace, can we get your vote on? We did big 3 position switches. I had Shaquem number 1. Mike, I think, called that a technicality. He had Godfrey number 1. Do you have any affinity for either list of the big 3 position switches?
I like the Godfrey one, to be honest with you. And I'm wondering if George O'Leary were to pop on the show, would he refer to you, Mike, as Ace? Ace.
Let's bring him in right now. Just kidding.
I could only be so lucky if he'd call me Ace.
I don't know what he'd call you right now. He would call you something right now. I don't think we can air on live on the internet.
So you did 20 shows before you did an interview.
There's a technicality here. I haven't brought this up before. I'd have to do the research. I want to say it was episode like 6, maybe 7. I had a very wispy interview with Garrett Kruzek, who was in the mountains of North Carolina, whose audio was not very fantastic. It was just me at that point. Mike was not available, or I didn't call him. I'm not sure how that worked out. It was probably like a 10, 15-minute conversation. He might technically be the first interview, but we don't really count that. I love you to death, by the way, Garrett. Not that you're listening, but if you were, we still love you. But we count Jeff Godfrey as our first interview at episode 21.
Originally, the names of the show was supposed to be Sons of Mike Kruzek, right? And that's how you got in touch with Jared, because he was like, what are you talking about? Does my dad have more kids?
It was awkward. Yes. It's awkward to explain that. But Trace, if I unscripted, if I could, I'd like to take a moment for one other thing here, if you don't mind. Something we've been working on that I want to share with the group is, and pleased to introduce and announce it tonight. That is our new website. So we have been working on a web component for a while. We wanted a place where you can go and get all of the Sons of UCF and Sons of UCF live stuff all in one place, podcasts, YouTube videos, all that stuff. So we have created our own website. It is listed at twonightsmedia.com. I will send this out later. There's a new blog component, which Mike and I have each contributed one of our written content pieces to. You'll see all of our past episodes are here as well. All of our YouTube stuff is still pictured there. There's an About Us section. Trace Trylko is featured. We found a picture of Trace Trylko. Have you seen your bio yet, Trace? I don't know if you've seen this. I have
seen none of these things. I'm surprised that Mike didn't lobby to show me in a hammock.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because as we mentioned here, you live in Sanford, enjoy spending time with your family in Colorado, usually found at a UCF press conference or resting comfortably in a hammock.
Oh, there we go. That's Mike's contribution to this. Yeah.
And your official Two Nights Media bio here. People may ask why Two Nights Media. Obviously, me and Mike won 2. We're both Knights. There you go. And the media thing, who knows? We're not a media company, but if this thing ever expands, if we ever do something else, who knows? It gives us room for it. I think the thing we're most excited about is the blog element. It gives us a chance to write some stories, give you some maybe some game stories, some opinion pieces, some long form stuff, some personal stuff. Mike's article here on Born into a Rivalry is a kind of a personal story about the birth of his second daughter, which has a UCF tie-in. My article is a little bit about Mike and I and how the show started. So we're excited to launch it. It isn't not a perfect a site just yet. We'll continue to make some updates and changes, but we want to give everybody a one place that we can come find our stuff here. So bookmark twonightsmedia.com. That's where you can find us. You may see articles. Maybe Trace Trylko pops up with a guest article one day. You never really know, but we'd appreciate anybody who wants to bookmark twonightsmedia.com and follow all of our stuff there.
It ain't us, it's the media. We're finally media now. I can't believe it. We've made it. We have our own website. It's very cool. And just another way for us to stay in touch with the fans and share things that we don't have time for on the show. Like that story we wrote. And I have a bunch of other personal stories I plan on sharing with you guys and just other things along the way. And I'm excited to see where this thing goes.
Be warned for personal stories. Also, Bengals selected Jamar Chase. Also, Trace, one last thing, buddy. Unscripted. I know this is not on your rundown, but I've got to bring it up right here. A happy early birthday to our big friend, Mr. Trace Trylko. May the 2nd.
Shout out to Nelson. Nelson also.
I was going to get there.
Yeah.
Hat tip to Libby for the info.
Thank you,
on May
Libby.
the 2nd, Trace and our good buddy Nelson both hit the big 5-0. So Trace, an early happy birthday from Mike
Thank
and
you.
I, and I'm sure all of Night Nation out there wishes you a happy birthday as well.
Thank you very much. I, by the way, am glad that you did go with the Sons of UCF as the name, because it would have made for some awkward press conference introductions. Coach Malzahn, Trace Trylko, Sons of Mike Kruzak. I don't think anybody would have quite understood what it was all about. So
if you want to use Two Nights Media now, you can sneak that one in there too, Trace. Now you have options. So we did that for you, really. So you have options.
Do we have to make new hats and shirts now that say Two Nights Media? What are we doing here?
We do have a logo. So our good friend Chris Robinson from Chris Robinson Designs, he made us a logo. I'll see if I can bring it up on screen there. I cannot because it's behind Trace, Mike, and I. But we do have a Two Nights Media logo that you will see. Actually, I guess I can bring up the small version. I can't. Never mind.
You could just get rid of us.
There is logo. Well, then who are they going to watch, Trace? I mean,
the logo.
They need actually. If I get rid of me and you.
Hey, just me.
At 7:59, it was just a chair and a hat in Mike Square. So we were that close to just a chair and a chair and a hat.
But big shouts to Chris for, again, another awesome logo design. We appreciate all of his hard work and his creativity.
You guys need to perhaps update the stadium shot. It looks like a COVID-era stadium shot that you have on the main page.
Working on it. Mike sent a photo in true Mike fashion like a week after the site went up. So I'll see if I can get that one loaded in.
Yeah, a new picture of SpaceX Stadium by Elon Musk.
Scott, welcome
to. I've been drafted, folks. Sons of UCF, put the hat on.
Mike just wants to make another box of hats that only he can win.
I mean, beat me in something. If anybody can beat me in some things, you guys get hats. I'm leaving this one wide open. You predict the draft, you got yourself a hat.
Oh, boy.
You don't have to get one pick right.
And who do you got? Mike won on Twitter.
Trace,
I thought we traded that pick.
What was the question, Mike?
Who are you predicting from UCF? What team are they ending up on? Give us a quick one.
I haven't analyzed that, but I'm going with 4. 4 is my number. I don't have Otis making it, Greg making it. I think Marlon's going to fall out, and between Trey and Jacob, I don't see them both making it. I want to be wrong. I want 6 or 8 to be the correct answer, but I'm going to go with 4. So I still went with the over in the poll. All right, Dolphins pick is in. Let us leave with the Dolphins pick having been made before we sign off. And
Penei Sewell. What do you think?
That's a good choice. They often like the offensive lineman.
In Alabama,
Devontae Smith would be. I'm gonna go Devontae Smith just because I don't want to do.
Yeah, wide receiver here.
Mac Jones. Just kidding.
So Justin Fields has still not been selected, so he's tumbling down this draft board now.
Is it tumbling though? I think he was projected somewhere in top 10. I think he still got some spot. Watch out for the Patriots to leap up. Patriots, Mac Jones collision course.
Yeah, I hope it's not the Giants trading down because I don't want to stay up past like 10 o'clock watching this thing. So.
Yeah, I'm glad the Cowboys suck this year because I can get my pick in before like 10 p.m.
You won't be able to fall asleep if you just leave that tie lit up. You'll be fine. You'll be wide awake.
All right. I think Roger Goodell has ambled his way to the a rather elaborate stage setup, which looks.
Are we gonna get sued by the NFL for doing this, or are we allowed to announce picks like this?
Great question.
I would like to be sued by the NFL. Cease and desist by the NFL.
Shout out to the pub sub guy, by the way, who got sued from Publix. And the pick is Jalen Waddle from Alabama.
All right.
Interesting.
In an upset. He looks surprised he just got picked.
His suit game, though, on fire, just like Mike. All right,
no,
guys.
Mike's is better. I can't see Mike's shoes, though. Mike, what shoes do you have on?
You don't want to see.
Are you wearing shorts? Okay. Are you wearing shorts?
What do you think?
It all falls apart. It all falls apart. There it is. There it is.
You're lucky if I'm wearing shorts. I'm Porky Picking it, baby. There's nothing wrong.
Oh, boy. That's counter programming right there to the NFL draft. All right, guys, it has been fun. For Adam and Mike, I am Trey Trylko. Go Knights!
Charge
Georgia.
on.